And good afternoon, everybody. My name's Peter Davis, and I'm one of the UK trainers. So this afternoon, I'm going to talk to you about the art of rendering and 360-degree panoramic views. Here is a simple little floor plan, and I want to show you there's lots of tips and tricks that we can do with this. And here we're obviously on the plan, we've got the elevation, and for those that don't know yet, we're now promoting version 6, and there are some distinct differences. For instance, down on the bottom here, we've got the tabs that are available showing you each and every one elevation, and they are created automatically, as is the floor plan, and it has a worktop layout for you. You no longer need to command it. You simply put worktops on your layout and they come through. Now, what can we do on perspective? Well, perspective, we can do lots of different things in here. Notice, if you will, at the bottom of my screen, the layouts that I've got ready, the tabs. Now, you automatically get one. It's the first one. It has an asterisk on it, and it's simply been labeled perspective. I've then gone on and duplicated that by pressing the little plus sign there. So you add another tab, and then you can decide what you want to do with that tab. And on this example, what I have done is to create a night effect. So there is daylight, and here is nighttime. And it's a wonderful opportunity for you to sell things like in-cabinet or under-cabinet plinth lighting, etc., etc., and give a flavor of what will happen. But some of the behind-the-scenes techniques with version 6, it automatically darkens the outside view on any one window that you have, but it also promotes this door to show perhaps a light coming through from another room. So there I am automatically going through the tabs, and you can see that I've dressed up this little design just to give you a few options in there. And by simply adding a blind, you get the sunlight fanning through, giving a real life effect. Now, I've obviously propped this from 2020 Cloud. All these props are from Cloud, including Smeg appliances, branded if you like. So they are there. And I've just to show you what I've done is I've renamed some of the tabs. So this one now is a 360-degree panoramic view. This is what, and I'll explain how to get this in a few moments, but it shows a wonderful reflected light on bottles and wine glasses, and also the branding. I've chosen this afternoon to show you the Smeg appliances. But things, little things like the 13-amp sockets, switches, etc., etc. And with version 6, one other change we've made significantly is the top view. We're no longer getting the blend around the outside of the room. And the light still comes in the room. We can still see the effect of the blind on the view itself. But here I can switch from one to another, and all I've actually done with this is to press the plus sign. Now, the idea behind this plus sign is it copies the original, the one with the asterisk, and then you can either double-click the perspective one where it is. So if I were to double-click that now, we could simply overtype the name and give it a tab of night. So your choice where you go and what you do. You might not even bother changing these. But there's a perspective with the sunlight coming through the blind, with the under-cabinet lights. And don't forget, I talked briefly yesterday about the lighting rig that goes on automatically in version 6. So there we are. Again, I'm going to talk to you a little bit in a minute about 360. But wonderful top view now without the bleed of the view out of the window going through. Now what that means is that you can do some wonderful things. An example here, yes, dressing it up, I've certainly done that. But I've also put a black tiled floor on, and then I've used a technique where, and this is highlighted on our YouTube channel, whereby you can lay a box on the floor, and I'll give you a couple of hints with that in a minute. And once the box is on the floor, you then change that box from being a white render to become transparent glass, and it gives this wonderful appeal of very, very shiny tiles. Now, let's go back and recap on that. What I've actually done is, on a floor plan layer, I simply put in there, and you can see the red outline, a box, a BOX, and I drew it with the little polygon drawing tools, and those are in this area here, the polygon drawing tools. I used a box, and I simply told the height of the box to be 1 mil and the height of the floor to be 3 mil. And then I simply draw the box using this tool all the way around the room until I come back again and it joins itself up. The box will be white in color, so you'll no longer see the tiles. But what I then did was to change the material of the box and then told it to be glass. Here it is, transparent glass. So it was that color on the floor, it's now transparent glass. And if you're listening with a pad and paper, you can make the glass transparent, and it's very simple. We simply go to replace, and then you're going to choose catalog colors, advanced graphics, glass, and then look for 584, start again. Let's come in here and choose it correctly for you, glass, and then when you're in glass number 584, transparent glass. And that's what happens when you take the view, the perspective, in any shape and form. You get this wonderful shiny effect, which is truly amazing, and you can see the floor highlighted around there. And just one last thing in here, I've also turned on the padlock sign. And the padlock sign, when the floor is highlighted, it means that I can padlock it and I can no longer accidentally drag it anywhere else. It simply won't drag. Whatever I try to move around the room, perhaps I'm upping and downing these, I'm moving the wine bottles in and out of a rack or whatever else, I'm no longer affecting the floor. It stays locked as you would want it to be. Now, one of the other benefits of version 6 in having these named views is if we go up and have a look at something called multi-view, and in there we simply click on multi-view, and it will bring up just 4 faint outlines. And when I go back down to the multi-view drop-down arrow, I can then go top left-hand pane, and I can have the master perspective, and that will go off and fill this square. I can then choose a second and a third square with these named views. And it's going to take a moment because there is a lot of rendering going on within that. But when I come into here and go and choose my top right-hand pane, I can perhaps have nighttime, and that can fill the second, and I could choose a third and a fourth, including a copy of the floor plan if you wanted to. So very, very powerful now. In version 5, we couldn't actually differentiate between these two views, but with version 6 having the wonderful ability to not only create a unique layer, and that's what it actually is, you've got this ability to keep these items as and when you would want to. So simply coming in here and perhaps choosing the bottom right hand corner, we could choose that very powerful 360 as I've named it. It's the close-up view of the wine glass and the bottle showing the reflected or refracted light. Very, very powerful. And of course, don't forget this multi-view can be printed in the paper and also printed in PDF. And if you create a PDF file, you can then email it as 4 unique pictures to your customer's drawing. However, what we're really interested in today is the 360-degree panoramic view. Now, just a couple of basic rules with 360 panoramic view, and I'll create one for you in a moment. First of all, the secret with it, it must know who you are. So you go to File, you come down and go to Manage, and if you've never done this, it's very, very simple to do in here. On the tab marked System, up the top there is a button called Daily Details, and this would be where you would put the name and the address, and more importantly, the email address of your company. The 360 panoramic view won't be created unless you've got a dealer name and a dealer address or email address. And once you've done that, you don't need to do it again. It will come through on every single piece of paper that you produce out of Fusion from now on, whether they are reports, whether they're elevations, perspective, or anything else. So that, just to remind you, is Manage, System, Dealer Details. So you need a dealer name and you need a dealer email address. And then the second area that you must come in here is with the client, you must have an email address. We must know where to send it. Now, just a little observation here. Some retailers have suggested to us they don't want the panoramic view to go out to the client until they've vetted it, they've checked it, etc., etc. And I can quite understand that. Well, here's an opportunity for you now to simply come in here and insert your own email address, and you'll get that email with a link in it automatically after a few seconds. And if you feel that it's good and comfortable, it's dynamic, then you can pass it or forward it via email to your client. So those are the 4 essential items with panoramic views. The next one for you is to be aware that what we're going to do is to revolve around the picture. And it's important where one stands. So if I come down to Navigate View, if I were to revolve around that circle, I would see more of the garden and less of the kitchen. So for me, a really good tip for you is to stand in the middle of the room. Don't worry about how much you're seeing or how little you're seeing of the room, because when we create the panoramic, you'll be able to turn right around, pivoting on your heels, so to speak, but you're seeing all the room and not the garden, so to speak. Second piece of advice I can give you in terms of rendering is to make it as good as you possibly can. Lots of reflected light in there. So what one can do in version 6 is to go to the Presentation Plus, and that will just rerun this one and create a more enhanced picture. But just be aware, just a couple of little guidelines. Please stand in roughly in the middle of the room and make a colored render. It doesn't create the 360 in the wireframe or the white fill mood or mode. So all I'm doing now is just waiting for this picture to come to, and what you'll notice is because these tabs are acting independently of one another, this is going to give me the best render, the Presentation Plus render, on the new version 6 scheme. And once I'm there, once I've rendered, we simply ask for a 360. And that's contained just underneath this little downward pointing arrow under the word perspective. And coming down here, we can choose then the 360. So once I've chosen the 360, the hourglass goes off and it's beginning to build the picture for you. Now if you look at the bottom left hand corner of my screen, you'll see that the progress bar has moved from up on the top left hand corner where it was, is now building that picture in the bottom left-hand corner, just to differentiate between the 360 and other views that we've got going on in here. Now this will take just a couple of seconds, and it will then create you a view that will be shown as it is on the screen, what it would look like if it landed in a static laptop or PC. Don't forget, when it goes to a smartphone or a smart tablet, you can actually pick it up and turn around, revolve around in the room just simply by moving your body. But in a laptop or a PC, you have to use the guide arrows, and you'll see this coming through in a couple of moments' time. And it'll just show you this static view that the customer has to navigate themselves, because there's not the technology in the laptop or the PC like there is in a smartphone. So just a little bit away from there now. So I'm just going to suggest to you, if you've not yet got a copy of version 6, do please ask for our support team to send you the link with it. Providing you're on support, then you will get it free of charge. And I don't know, while I'm waiting for this just to build the picture up, if you look at the corner here, you can even see the light coming through and fanning the edge of that cabinet there. Same through here and the wall. And by the way, the wall color that I've chosen today for this design is in Advanced Graphics, and it's 740, so it's a blue color. And there are other training materials on YouTube that we've got launched from our website, whereby you can download brand colors of paints and wallpaper patterns. So another tip I can give you, by the way, with 360 panoramic views, the more props that you put on the worktops or around the room, the slower the render. Now there has to be a straightforward question there. Do we want to make it look powerful, and that is with the props, so that the customer can become accustomed to seeing how and what it would look like with the props around the room? It has a render speed little drawback. That's the only thing. So if you leave it without props, then this render will take a lot less time. But we're nearly there now. So bear with me while we get the last little render going on. And there we are. It will, the moment I go to publish, it will then publish the 360 to go to the two email addresses, the dealer and the customer. If they're getting the link through, this is what they would see, and they can simply now do this manually, and that is that white circle there, and the picture will start moving around automatically for you, or you can look up or look down, you can get closer or farther away. So this is what it does inside a PC or a laptop, and you can even hide these control panels if you want to, so they're getting a true picture reality. And you can see it's very, very powerful. Now it's telling me down here who's going to receive the link to get it to work within, and obviously the dealer and the customer, or you a second time if you want to control the distribution of this. And all I want to do after that is, when I'm happy, I'm satisfied, the lighting looks right, the garden is as close as I can get. Don't forget, you can also take a photograph of the customer's garden and post that or import that in and work in here under backgrounds, so their own garden could be viewed out of the window. So the moment I press publish, out it goes. It's going from my laptop out to Montreal and back to the email address. And there it is. All I need to do now is simply say to it, OK, and that's it, gone, done and dusted. So I'm hoping now that you get a little bit more of an insight into 360 panoramic views, because they are powerful and they are important part of your product that you can offer your clients. Just to remind you, there is a free trial that's available for those people that have yet to purchase their software. That is available. And there is lots of help available now on the software. We offer, as I've said before, training at 2 distinct locations in the UK, Bolton in Manchester and Ashford in Kent. And we have a knowledge-based centre, and we also have 2020 Cloud, which contains a community. And that's where you can ask individual questions if you want to. So there's lots of help available. And we also have a YouTube channel which has free access to it. Don't forget also, we're now very heavily involved with the media-based tips and tricks that you can see on Facebook and Twitter, those types of media. And lastly, let me just thank you for your attention. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and good luck.